Amazing. Yeah, it can move really fast. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And there, again, this goes back to the patience built into the platform. And again, a lot of these people have inspected every aspect of it. They've waited. They've done the work on themselves, and they're showing up ready to transact. They're not always going to be like that.
Right. No.
I think that's just the beautiful part about what Zillow has done over the past decade, probably, as we modified and came to the current version of ourselves as we are now. Is the goal originally was to empower the general public with the ability to look out the window at the house across the street and see the little price tag on top of it, right? That was the original motif of the whole thing. But ultimately, it's because unfortunately, like the consumer had no control, right? If they wanted to see homes, they had to go into a brokerage, they had to flip a book,
Right.
And it was very like salesy at that point, because somebody, they have to work with the.
Well,
the
they had
people.
to go to the realtor to get the information,
Yeah.
and now the information is available to them, and rightfully so.
So on the agent side, right, blessing and a curse a little bit, right? But from the consumer side, this is actually great, right? Because now they get to do all this research. The data has only gotten even better, right? The last couple of years,
Right.
Zillow data.
The MLS integrations really helped out.
MLS integration really helped out, so now consumers can really dig in deep. They're not all going to show up ready to buy tomorrow, but they can, and that is a beautiful thing. So when I hear stories of that, I fall in love.
We prepare to be able to take a call and write a contract.
Yeah.
But not, obviously the consumer's not always ready for that, but shame on us if we're not.
Yeah, and that was where the point was. I was telling about this Connecticut team. So I asked this broker. I reached out. I said, hey, this is congratulations. Wonderful job helping 3 of our customers. Over the bridge. And what are you doing over there? Like, what are you guys drinking? Yeah. And what's in the water? And she said something to me that I thought was really profound. And it might not be about urgency in this market as much, right? Like you said, they're planners. It's a little bit more, maybe a little bit more calculated, but maybe importance, right? So she said, Ryan, I don't think I'm doing anything very sophisticated with these customers, but I will tell you, when I get that call, I want that customer to feel my urgency about their home search.
Yeah.
And I think it's really true, right? When we all know what it's like when we have to do something really difficult, and we have a short period of time. It's like mission critical. Maybe our kid's sick, or we've got a leak in the roof, or a burst pipe, or something. We know what it's like to call into a business, and we get the person that leads with compassion, is like really attentive. You can feel that they are problem solving with you, trying to get you to the end, right? Trying to get you to the solution. And even if they can't solve our problem, we leave that call feeling like, wow, that person really loves their job. We felt cared for, and we believe that there wasn't a solution that would work if we didn't get what we wanted. Many times we do. We also know what it's like to call in to a business and have, the person, we're kind of like a number. A no is a no. It's like, that's the rules.
Yeah.
If they transfer us, it's not a warm transfer.
You gotta start all over.
Start all over.
Right.
And so I bring that up, right? Today in real estate, unfortunately, there are both versions of that. When we're calling in, and moving is just as important. Maybe not as urgent here, but just as important as those things, if not more important. Which again is why at Zillow we value our partnerships with teams like yours so much, because we are working with teams that are focused on leading with that compassion and giving that wonderful customer experience.
I mean, most people don't know, but the consumers know. The consumers are filling out a survey. You're asking the customer, like, hey, how was your experience with the agent that we connected you with?
Yeah.
And we get scored on that. And we take our customer, and we don't get to see the survey. We're no part of it. It's directly between the consumer, the buyer, and Zillow. But it comes up on all of our agents of their score, and we always want it to be as high as possible by providing a good, really good experience. And so that's I actually like it because it keeps everything aligned with the consumer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and the whole mission tree, like the decision tree is, a lot of people think Zillow is actually like an agent tool. It's a product for agents.
It's consumer.
It's a product to help the masses, get access to that information so they can make better better decision making, around their real estate choices. And it's not even just in buying and selling too. You've seen the expansion of our product set, into rental and other aspects of the business as well. Because we want to help them wherever they are. And we believe that if we can help them in those other areas, they eventually will be ready to buy and sell a home.
So as a growth advisor, what's something that you really like? What's like a something that a win, like a positive thing that you've helped a team do or accomplish that makes you really, really proud?
It's all about relationships. I feel like when we take traditional real estate teaches us to essentially make sure that the buyer is ready to buy a house before you go and you show the house, right? And that works really well in our sphere of influence, right? The people that we know before the time of transaction, right? They know us, so there's trust there, right? And so it is the best way to buy a house, by the way. The best way to go shopping for a home is knowing what you can afford. We know that.
Right.
But if you're just entering your home search and you don't already have a relationship with an agent, they're not ready to have that conversation with somebody else. They're not ready for a no wait. They're not ready for a hoop to jump through, right? And so when we can get a team to move over to a more modern approach, which is meeting that customer, really taking an interest in their home search, putting them first, right? Building that one-to-one experience and ultimately putting the person over the property,
right?
Which is not commonplace, right? On teams like yours it is, right? But it's not commonplace with everyone.
But as soon as having that logic, putting it over having it over the people rather than the properties, just thinking that way and seeing it that way, maybe it's that way, seeing it that way, really, really does change things in a positive way for the agent and for the consumer.
Yeah, and also, by the way, and also Zillow, right? Because when that person, even if they don't buy a house, but they felt cared for,
right,
in that moment, and the goal is for them to buy a house on both sides, right? The customer wants to buy a house most of the time. The agent would love to sell the house. Zillow would love to see this all work out as well. But it's, we all win because then they're happy with the service and the quality that they got out of our platform. So.
Well, our whole business is based on relationships, and we have our we call it our center of influence, or people that know and trust us. But they're not doing anything right now. But we always have conversations with them about the repair people that they should use, or just being a resource, and they may not do anything for any point in time. It could be 2 years, 5 years. They've already bought their home. So we nurture our past clients and our center influence. And so what my point to that is, we do the same thing with the people we don't know, because that's all the people we do know. But the people we don't know, we're just starting brand new relationships with. And when they're ready, we're here and we'll provide all the resources to help them to get ready. So that's the fun part. But you guys actually, I think it was you who was talking about the people over properties, and it wasn't that we were never thinking about the people. It just made like something snap.
Traditional real estate taught agents, right? So if you think about all the advancements in real estate over the past 20 years, right? Everyone usually says, oh, it's the internet or technology, access to information, access to financing, right? These are the big, sort of common threads that people answer. But what they don't necessarily talk about is that the biggest shift in real estate over the past 20 years is actually the demographic of people buying houses. It's the people, right? 20 years, like rates change, house prices, house prices always go up, right? Real estate always goes up essentially, right? A little bit.
Over a long time.
Over a long time. But like all that stuff's still constant. You could say 20 years before that it was the same thing too. It's just more, right? But the biggest shift is actually who buys the house, right? They look, act, and just are different today than home buyers of 20 years ago. So you have to look at that person and you have to think, well, what's unique about them? and it's what we've identified is that they use their phone to do all this stuff, right? But what hasn't changed in real estate for the last 20 years, much,
I know where you're going.
Is how we teach agents entering the industry, right? And there's a lot of agents that have joined in the last couple of years, right? Real estate's been really hot. We don't teach them necessarily how to approach this new buyer. And unfortunately, a lot of real estate training is focused on sphere of influence training still, because guess what? 20 years ago, that's actually how you were successful in real estate. You had to mine your community, you had to hustle to let people know you sold real estate, eventually buy a billboard, and then the phone rang, you know? But today, that stuff isn't nearly as effective as our platform.
But in truthful, your guys' platform has been doing it, but actually the technology has just gotten easier, and so makes it easier for consumption. You know, 10 years ago,
still rough.
was your website even?
I think we're coming up on our 18th year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but what it is now, 10 years ago to today, is like entirely different.
Yeah, it continues to evolve. Like even Zillow this year over last year, and wait till you see what's coming. We have a very exciting roadmap for the next couple years on the big vision that we have for the super app, right? As we start to streamline the real estate transaction even further. Very exciting, next couple years, I think.
Well, I'm glad. I'm excited to see what Vegas is about. I think going to the Zillow conference there, I think that'd be a good time. So, and be able to do some networking with some of the Zillow leadership team, but also with some of my peers that are also in the same group.
They're all going to be there, and you'll get to hear about some of those, exciting, announcements. I probably can't talk about today anyways, but that you get a chance to hear, from our executive leadership, and I'm pretty confident we're going to leave, in October, pretty pumped about the coming years as well. So.
Well, you've been a big help to our leadership with Kayla and I and our team, of really helping us maximize our, because we're, obviously we're running a business, and we want to help the consumer, and we want to do it in the best way where it aligns with everything. But the data that's available and the information that's available, even on our side that you guys provide to us, is very insightful to be able to help our buyers find the properties that they're looking for. And we're able to, do that, and you're able to kind of coach us through that on a, and honestly, I let the consumers don't know this, but the accountability you guys have, I actually have taken the accountability that we meet on a weekly basis, and Zillow is a good portion of our business, but all of our other lead pillars, we're able to take that same cadence across, and because you guys have been working on it for a long time, and you have a lot of different agents, and you've been working on it, so why reinvent the wheel? And able to use a proven technique to help maximize the resources within the team, and I appreciate it.
And you guys are a dream to work with. All we could ask for, obviously, at Zillow, is a team and agents, right? That want to do right by the customer. That want to help as many people as they can. And you guys have really shown up, in the partnership. So we appreciate you, in doing that. About the data, right? So real estate is a very emotional industry, right? It's humans buying expensive, hard to buy things,
right?
And it has all this emotion that's involved in it, and it's really complementary when you can bring clarity to the emotional aspects of the business with the data.
Right.
Zillow, right, stands for a zillion points of data and the word pillow, right, where you rest your head. And so when you pair the emotional aspects, right? A lot of people think Zillow is like this cold, sort of like tech real estate thing, but honestly, I think it's pairs with the emotional aspects, right? If real estate is all emotion, right? It's hard to kind of like put your foot down and say, okay, here's the first step and where's the next step, when you're building a team and you're trying to help customers at scale. But if you can take the data and pair it with the two, you need both, right? Because can't show up.
It takes them both.
Takes them both. You got to be able to build relationships with your customers and with your team if you want them to, have successful outcomes. but the data is, we've found the data helps guide that process a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's been really, really helpful, and we work off a lot of metrics within our team, and it helps us make decisions. And so that's a big help. Closing thoughts? Anything that our viewers would like to really put you on the spot now?
Okay, closing
what's
thoughts.
Zillow's? What's anything new that how do you see things this time next year?
Gosh,
customer experience.
Yeah. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on in real estate right now. There's a lot changing in real estate, a lot changing in Zillow, a lot changing in our flex partnerships. As we've been talking about for a few weeks now, right? I am definitely not like I'm not an economist, right? So I have no clue what rates will do or any of that stuff. But I do think, regardless of what happens, right? People will buy and sell homes. Oh, yeah. And the people who, if there are, for instance, let's say we're in a world where there's less buyers, right? The people who are buyers are even more so going to have options on who they choose to work with.
Right.
Because everyone's going to want to talk to them,
right?
And so that's a pretty big shift from the last couple of years. Last couple of years, there's been such a surplus of buyers.
Right.
And not enough homes.
Not enough homes.
And so a lot of agents and a lot of teams, I'm not, just did, they had more buyers than they know what to do with. So they could only focus on the ones they focused on. And I think a lot of people, were left feeling underserved.
Right. Okay.
So now we've switched that market, right? Or we're switching that market.
Yeah.
So if that continues, and I hope for a balanced market. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
A balanced market would be great. But as the number of buyers drops, to whatever that number is.
Or more sellers present themselves.
Oh, yeah, or more sellers. Either way.
Yeah.
If the buyers are less than the sellers, if that ratio changes, you're finding buyers. Everyone will need to find those buyers because that's how you generally, you start your real estate career. Yeah. And they will have more options because there will be even more people trying to talk to them than there currently was, which means that they're going to be very choosy. And so I think for the future of real estate in the short term, right, based on what I can speak to, providing value at every touch, making sure that you're building those relationships and establishing a trusting relationship. They can do a lot of the research on their own. They want someone to help guide them on the parts they don't know. Right. And so I think I'm bullish on that. Regardless of what the market does, if you're focused on providing value and building relationships, people over properties, people will be buying homes and agents will be having success.
I actually like the consumer getting educated and us filling in the gaps. I don't mind doing it all or filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
But just learning, being just transparent. As times have changed, I've been doing it been licensed for 20 years, and what's not. I don't mind the consumer being pre-educated, or you know, that's totally cool because it's easy to fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
and then it's not weird.
Yeah, totally.
So
and there's something in there too, which is really interesting, I think, to call out, and that is a lot of agents, right, are taught that they need to be the local expert and they need to help people find homes, right? That's the beginning of real estate, right? That's a lot of them think that that's one of the big hats that they wear as an agent. And the truth is that while most consumers definitely could use help narrowing their search to the home, right? Getting really into the intrinsic motivators of what homes people are going to be happy with, based on the fact that you've just been in more homes than the rest of us, right? So even just in that, you have an expertise we all need, right? But when we try at the beginning of the relationship to help people find homes, right? So when you talk to the first call or second call, most consumers don't want to answer questions about the kind of homes that they want to see.
Because they've already established that during their journey.
They're doing that dynamically every day, right? They're searching, and then tomorrow when they realize that the exact home they want isn't in that search parameter, they've already changed it 3-4 times over the first couple weeks. So that dynamic home search that they're guiding on their own, an agent can't dynamically do that nearly as well because it becomes a little bothersome.
Yeah.
So when agents are using a traditional method where they're trying to get into the home search aspects of it rather than the meet you and build a relationship aspects, for the consumer it feels like they're actually going backwards.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing you want in a world where everyone's like, I got 15 minutes to schedule this and I'm trying to move forward because my wife just texted me. She's like, why don't we have an appointment yet? I got to get to this next meeting. And so it's all about like getting to the speed and pace and tonality of where the customer's at and trying to like get in the canoe with them.
But just speaking from firsthand experience, one of the things that we really changed in our dialogue that really actually helped the consumer, and as it turns out, that is what the consumer was inadvertently, needing and wanting, was starting with the question, when would you like to see the property? Instead of like learning their whole journey, which like we were talking about earlier, they've already established. And when we asked, like, when would you like to see the property? I see that you're wanting to see 123 Banana Street. That when would you like to see it? They will do one of two answers. One, Tuesday at 2.
Yep.
Or they'll be like, oh no, I'm in Denver, Colorado. That'd be kind of hard.
Yeah.
And then we're able to kind of slow things down a little bit. And then that's what you were talking about with the.
Yeah, so the beautiful part about asking them is they're either going to say they want to go see the house because they have intent,
right,
or they tell you that they don't have intent. But there's no downside from just asking them at the top because they'll let you know. The thing I love about a market like yours and a technology like ours,
right,
kind of, and it wasn't as popular before 2020.
No.
But with COVID, if there was any blessings in real estate, it was a tough time obviously for many teams, but teams and agents, right, had to innovate and start using video more. And our platform was already built to sort of promote 3D tours, right?
Yep.
So we already know that homes that are listed, this is for your listing sites,
right,
but homes that have a 3D tour attached to them
right,
get, don't quote me on this, but it's a lot more views, maybe 40% more views. And sell faster than the homes that don't have it.
Right.
I should really know that statistic. It's a different part of the business than what I do. But then beyond that, right? So you could be sitting in Denver, right? Imagine 10 years ago, the flight's really expensive. You need to do as much research as you can before, because you can't make 5 trips down here to buy a house. Right? I mean, you could, but it's a little cost prohibitive, right? Not to mention tiring. And so you want to do as much research as you can. If you don't have an agent down here that's helping you, you're already like, I don't know if I hope I get a good one, right? So the ability to not only do a virtual tour with them, where they get to see your personality and almost have an in-person experience. So now we're building trust. But then you get to walk them through the house and give commentary on what you're seeing. This is way more rich than a 3D tour, right? 3D tour is great. But being able to have a good agent who's really focused on getting the nuances of the home through the phone, that is a beautiful piece of technology.
We did a lot of the virtual tours.
Yeah.
Virtual tours with buyers. We did virtual listing appointments. Everything went virtual. But the buyer virtual tour, we had some buyers, and this won't be a surprise to you, but did everything virtually and never even seen the property.
Sight unseen.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So,
yeah. I mean, such was the market, though. I mean, houses had 20 offers on them. You had to move quick.
So that's been just going back to that point. Just changing that dialogue just made everything smoother, to the between the consumer and the agent. So it goes back to that Uber or the Amazon effect, or where it's just more on demand and everything's in alignment. So
96% of the customers, the buyers, do not buy the house that they first push the button to talk to the agent on. 96. But the real question is, are they going to build it? Do they buy the agent, right? Do they pick that person to focus their efforts on? Nobody really wants 4 plumbers to come over to the house to fix the broken pipe, right? But they sure as heck are going to call 4 plumbers if they don't get the vibe, the feeling that this person is trustworthy, that they want to invite them into their home, to come and handle this pretty important and urgent problem, right? So, it's provide value. If I was to talk to a buyer today, if a buyer said, hey, Ryan, what should I do to set myself up best to have a successful outcome in real estate today with how everything is, I would tell that person, you want to look for an agent that gives you their undivided attention, that makes you feel like your home search is their top priority. and is focused on building a relationship with you before they are focused on selling you a house.
Right.
And if buyers are focused on that's how they were building their criteria, they would end up finding agents like yours, teams like yours, and they would have a much better experience. They're going to find the right home quicker. They're going to be better educated on what it's going to take to be competitive. They'll be able to move quicker when they finally walk into the house of their dreams, and ultimately streamline the real estate process as much as possible.
Well, we appreciate all the time that you've spent, over the time we've been working together. I always enjoy our meetings, the insights that you provide, and the meetings that you've had with our team. So we really appreciate it. So thanks, and I'm glad you were able to make it out to Vero Beach, Florida.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And we value the partnership. We look forward to working with you guys more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have any questions or anything that I could get answered for you, don't hesitate. All our information will be below. And even if you got a question for Zillow or Ryan, put it in the comments, and we'll get the answers for you. Take care, and thank you so much. And thanks again.
Click and subscribe below.
Yeah, click and subscribe below.
I've always wanted to do that.